Yeah, so in 2007, I'd had enough. I think Operation Goliath came as well at Corals then, where they tore up the contract and basically you had to sign a new contract or you were out, which I didn't want to sign it. I waited till one of the very last days, went to appeal, signed it begrudgingly, and thought I definitely need a new challenge here. So I went looking for another job in bookies though, but I found a Better Bet in Victoria and spent an afternoon in there, and I was like, this is a nice shop. So applied for a job there, got a job there. I was on relief. They only had a few shops, 7 or 8 I think at the time. They were trying to build their sort of estate up at the time. They had just put a new till system in, or they were putting in a new till system, so I got involved in the training of that, which I found great. That was Finsoft tills, so I got to visit all the shops and train the staff, which I found really rewarding. But I was also still on relief working in other shops as well, so I'd sort of do a mixture of both, and that was really rewarding. Obviously, after a couple of years, they hit a bit of trouble. Jennings Bet took them over. It was called a merger, but it was basically Jennings saving the company. They had, I don't know how many shops they were up to, 70 or 80, it might have even been more, 100. So they needed all their shops then moving onto our till system, the Finsoft. So that was another job for me. So I got to go around random places like Buntingford, which I wouldn't even know where it is, but I went and trained all the staff there, just loads of different places. It was really good fun.
Okay, so now 2017, you started working for Star Sports with Matt first of all, and then as yourself. So it's fair to say the Mayfair shop is, I think most people agree, is like the Rolls Royce of betting shops. Does it still have its challenges for you as a manager?
Yeah, of course. Just different challenges, I suppose, to different shops. It is a fantastic shop. The clientele are obviously a lot wealthier, I can say, or better off anyway. You know, they're well paid in their jobs, whatever that may be. We have to cater for their needs. You know, we have to look after them individually, make sure they're all know that we're looking after them and they feel important within the shop. Obviously, we take a few bigger bets here, so that's a different challenge as well. Obviously, we're not just going to take a massive bet off the street without speaking to our traders, but it's another different thing that we have to deal with.
Okay, and so, I mean, obviously, taking aside the luxury aspect of this shop, how much things change now, where you are at this very minute, to when you first started?
A hell of a lot. Obviously, it's more of a battle to get people into the shops because of the apps on your phone. So many people just betting on like mobile, online. So you do see the volume of punters in shops slowly reducing. So that would be a case for all shops, I'd imagine. We're all right because our customers sort of have afternoons off. They'll work in the morning and they'll come in here for the afternoon and they'll sit here for the period of the racing. So we have still got our regulars, which is good. We can have 10, 12 in here just sitting in on an afternoon. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when they're all sitting there shouting across their bets on cricket or whatever.
Yeah, and one of the benefits you've got here, you do actually have to ring a doorbell, so you can sort of filter out the riffraff if you want to.
Well, you're always welcome in. We will buzz you in.
Now, so do you still get the same sort of characters and community feel, even though they're that little bit better heeled?
I think so, yeah. Everyone knows everyone in here. All the punters know each other, and they all know what horses they're going to back as well, because he follows Appleby, or, you know, he's a stout man. So they all know each other, and if an Appleby horse wins, they were like, Morris, you were on that, or whatever. So, yeah, there is still a good community, and we're always having a laugh with them. I mean, we've got an open counter, so we're just talking between each other, and it's good fun, especially when there's sport on as well. If Spurs are playing and there's a Spurs fan in here, he'll get some grief, etc., etc.
So so you make a point of actually getting to know the customers.
Oh, yeah.
So they're happy for you to know who they are, and a little bit about their lives and that sort of thing. Yeah,
obviously we have to do checks, the same as any shop's done, you know, POFs and proof of funds and all that. So we do know what bits and bobs. It's very private. It's kept very private anyway. It's only like the manager and our team that will deal with that in head office. But they're all very open in what they do anyway. I think they like to brag about it half the time.
Okay, now one thing I found working for a racecourse bookie was you really got to like your customers. You'd have the same customers come, and it was a bit difficult to sort of. There's a nice chap that used to come in and bet quite large, and you'd know he was going to do his money, and eventually he stopped coming. How do you compartmentalise that with you build up relationships and you like your customers, but you know deep down they've got to lose for this place to survive and you to earn your wages. How do you deal with that side of it?
Well, that's still part of sort of the social responsibility side of it and the friendship side of it. I mean, if someone's in here, we could have a guy who bets 50 quid a race, or we do have customers who'll bet £50 a race, and he could be like 600-700 quid down in half an hour. I'll go out and have a chat with him. I mean, it's good for the shop, but it's also, you know, that person you will say, come on mate, don't start chasing now. The last thing you want to do is chase, because chasers never win. Well, maybe one time in 10 you'll get yourself out of trouble. So there is that interaction with them, and I do get what you're saying, because you do like them and stuff, but they appreciate you saying that. But then luckily here we've got customers who are fairly wealthy, so no one sort of bets over than what they can afford. And if they do, we have had a couple who've taken a break and then they've returned and said, yeah, no, that's fine, and they've come back and bet a little bit smaller and a little bit less often.
Have you ever gone up to somebody and you said, listen son, do you know what I'm worth? You know, sort of, you've got too worried too soon?
Yeah, I have said it, and they've just said, don't worry about me. He says, I've just got a bonus for however much money, and I'm like, oh, okay then, fair enough.
And on the other side of it, I mean, have you had customers that have come in here that are far too lively for you and you've had to sort of politely decline their business?
Yeah, you're always going to get that in the game, aren't you? We like to lay a bet, but it has to be at the right price. So if someone's coming in the morning wanting a price where we're completely out with everyone else, he'll probably be offered a reduced, well, definitely a reduced rate, or we'll probably just say, no, you can have this at the price we want. So it does still happen.
Yeah, would the limits here be a bit higher than they would be in your normal betting shop?
Yeah, they would be. Not so much morning business. There's still, you've got to still be wary of the morning business, but during the afternoon, yeah, the limits are higher. So we do lay some big bets, especially from our regulars, without having to put them through to the trading or anything like that.
Now, back in my youth, there was always a magnificent story on a Saturday where somebody's wandered into a hill shop in some obscure part of London with a suitcase full of money and asked what Wogan's winner was that day. I mean, I found out since that was probably a brilliant PR ruse, but does that sort of thing ever happen? Have you had somebody come, you know, anyone come in with huge amounts of money that they've tried to have on?
Yeah, we've had, I mean, if they want a lot, we'll obviously speak to the traders. We can do transfers, like bank transfers, rather than the actual cash now. It's a much more modern world we're in than... People still say cash is king, and I have had people come in here for like £30,000 in cash, wanting to put it on a football match or something like that. But limits we've got now on, you know, proof of funds, you can't have more than a couple of grand. You can't have a 25 grand bet, or sorry, more than 25 without showing us where this money's coming from. Even if it's in casino sealed bags, we still need proof.
Yeah, that must be quite frustrating. If in this position, that's exactly what you're hoping to get.
Yeah. But if people want to build a relationship with us, then they know they're going to have to provide these details at first, and then it's going to be fine going forward. It's not a problem.
Okay, now this question wasn't on the sheet, but I'm not going to throw you a flanker. You were talking to me about, you've won Betting Shop Manager of the Year. Now, how does somebody become, I know they have to vote you as it, but I mean, what's the process?
You apply yourself. Back in the day when I first started out, I used to get nominated by a customer, but they changed that. I don't know when they changed it. So you put yourself forward. I know the big companies, they pick one person from each region and they're told to apply. Whereas as an independent, we're all encouraged to apply. Every shop, so we've got 19 shops, so one's just open. So we'd have had 18 applicants this year. 2 of us got through to the final 48, which is sort of the first cut-off stage. Then they have a mystery shopper, and that will then bring it down to 24 people. The 24 then go to Doncaster for a day at the races. On the Thursday night you go up and have dinner in Doncaster. I think we stayed in Bantry, nice hotel there. Have dinner with the judges, so you get to know them, and then on the Friday you go to the race course, do a small video interview, and again just interact with the judges. After that, they then pick the regional winners, so you go down to the final 8, that's what gets you onto the final day, which happened on Monday. So 8 of us were left. We had to do another brief bio before that, and then we went on Sunday, I should say, to the Racing Post Towers, as they call it, the head office of Racing Post, and we sort of get half an hour before the board where they just sort of grill us and ask us different questions about the industry and ourselves. And then the decision is made and we go to the awards ceremony.
And you've bagged it. It's worth mentioning that you've also like run a betting shop at Lord's.
Yes.
You've run a betting shop at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
So you're used to doing remote stuff as well.
Yeah, when I started here, I think within the first week I was told, you're doing Lord's, and I was like, what do you mean you're doing Lord's? Oh, we have a marquee at Lord's, so for test matches and one-day finals, I think it was. You can. He said, well, there's someone who's doing it at the moment, so just go with them and do it. It was Norman, who used to work for Bet365, great guy. I can't think. He's actually on the rail at Cheltenham as well. So he did it with me for the first couple of tests, I think it was, and then sort of showed me the game. What I wasn't used to was compiling the odds myself for certain things like session runs. If it wasn't to be found anywhere, kind of bands of session runs, I could find out what the session runs were being laid at, but I had to do it at bands. So I was always wary of that. But he just always taught me, he said, just do the one you think's going to be, and then you work your way out with the prices. And he said, as long as you've got a decent percentage, don't worry about it. And if you're getting picked on one, you just cut the price on that one. You know, if that band is particularly popular, it means you're probably wrong. So that was good fun. And then obviously the Sovereign Lounge in the first floor at Cheltenham Racecourse, that was great. Matt did it for the first couple of years, and then I sort of took over as well. Running that is full on. You know, that the Cheltenham Festival's brilliant. I mean, but you know you've worked at the end of it. You know, 4 days come and you're like, I need a rest now. But yeah, it's really rewarding though, so I enjoy doing that.
Right, so finally, you're now Betting Shop Manager of the Year, officially. That's the pinnacle of your, you know, of how you can go, I suppose. So what's next? Have you got any ambitions?
It's exactly what I said to the judges on Sunday when it was in my interview. I said, I think I've reached the pinnacle of the retail betting shop game, which they seem to agree with me, and you do now as well. I just want to stay here for the foreseeable future and just keep building the business, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't mind going out doing a bit of training and stuff like that, or out of town stuff, not a problem, but I want to build this up. We'll have a quiet period now, you know, there might be less people over from the summer. If the summer we get a lot of people over, so we'll have a lot more customers. So I want to build up different parts of the shop. There's always things to be done in here, so you should always keep striving to improve. And
can you win it 2 years in a row?
Not allowed entry again.
Oh, so there's no double up.
No.
Well, anyway, James, absolutely fantastic achievement. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for doing the interview. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. Cheers, Simon.